Did you hear the news that Charles Oliveira is going up against Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300? But his last big fight was supposed to be at UFC 294 against Islam Makhachev. Unfortunately, he had to pull out due to injury, putting the main event in jeopardy. Charles Oliveira aimed to regain the lightweight belt he once held from Islam Makhachev, wanting to even the score. However, just days before the fight, bad news hit both the Brazilian and his eager fans awaiting the bout. During training, Oliveira got a nasty cut above his right eye. It was deep and needed stitches to close. If it had been a small injury, maybe he could have still fought Islam. But because the cut was serious and the fight was important, Oliveira's team decided it was best to wait and fight another time. After the fight got cancelled, an apology was shared by the former champion. Everyone who watched saw what happened next. The then featherweight champion of the world, Alexander Volkanovski, was the one who stepped up to the challenge and weighed in against Makhachev. Unfortunately, many people think this is where things started to go downhill. Volk got knocked out in the first round by the champion. Then, months later, when he fought Ilia Topuria, he lost again, this time by a second-round knockout. Now, just like him, Charles Oliveira has once again concerned fans. In a recent update, it was reported that Oliveira got another cut above his eye that seemed to have been stitched up. The lightweight champion hasn't asked for the match to be cancelled yet, but a picture of him started circulating online. Fans were clearly worried about the situation. Luckily, the former lightweight champion hasn't hinted at backing out of his fight against Tsarukyan. The UFC 300 card is packed, and many fans are excited about this fight, which could determine Makhachev's next challenger. News about Oliveira's next fight should come soon. While his fans wait, let's consider 3 potential opponents for his UFC return and reflect on his disappointing split decision loss at UFC 300 in April. After a tough loss to rising star Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300, Do Bronx has slipped down the contender line. Now he'll have to win a fight or two to get back in the title race. That's why matchups with Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev, and Renato Moicano seem like good options for his next bout. In the past, Gaethje and Oliveira fought, and the Brazilian scored a big first-round submission. Now both are coming off losses and aiming for another title fight. A win in a rematch could really help their goal because both have a strong reputation in the division. Fiziev is a fighter near the top 5 in lightweight. Oliveira has not fought him yet, so it would be a fresh matchup near the top of the division. Moicano, also known as Carneiro, had a great win at UFC 300. He's been doing well, winning 3 in a row and 5 out of his last 6 fights. Now he deserves to face a big-name opponent next. A fight with Do Bronx would be an exciting battle between 2 top 10 fighters. It was a tough and close fight, but Charles Oliveira struggled to handle the impressive wrestling skills of Tsarukyan at their main card match in April. Even though Do Bronx almost got a submission twice against Tsarukyan, the young star managed to escape both times. Besides that, he used his striking skills well to set up his grappling and dominate the former champion for most of their 3-round fight, leading to a split decision win. The aftermath for Oliveira: to get another shot at the title in 2024, he had to win. But with the loss to the Armenian, it seems like his championship dreams have been pushed back to 2025. The plan ahead: there are many options for the former lightweight champ in his UFC comeback. But the most probable scenario is a new matchup against a fighter like Rafael Fiziev. Oliveira's journey in the UFC has been a quick rise to the top like Israel Adesanya's. At one point, he went from being a promising fighter to someone who just opened the gate for others. He struggled as a lightweight, tried and failed in the featherweight division, and then came back as a different fighter at 155 pounds, where he became a dominant force. Oliveira's story is about reinventing himself and never giving up, going from being known for one thing to becoming a well-rounded superstar. Oliveira has defeated top UFC fighters like Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone, Clay Guida, and Beneil Dariush. Oliveira lost his lightweight title in May 2022 after failing to make weight before his second title defense at UFC 274. Oliveira is one win away from matching former champion Ferguson for the longest win streak in the UFC lightweight history, which is currently at 12 wins. In the fight game, money often decides how successful you are. After 14 years in MMA, Charles Oliveira's net worth is reported to be $2.5 million. Recently, Justin was featured on a sports network show to talk about his future plans. During the interview, two main points were revealed. First, he plans to make a comeback at the end of this year or the beginning of next. Second, Justin mentioned that he will never rely heavily on wrestling because he believes the UFC doesn't pay him well if he uses that style. He also emphasized that he gets big fights mainly because of his fighting style. These were the key points of the interview. Throughout the rest of the interview, the reporter seemed to flirt with Justin, and at times Justin appeared uncomfortable. For example, the reporter asked, "How are you going to celebrate tonight?" And Justin responded, "I hope to eat a lot of food because I'm ready." Then the reporter mentioned not eating all day, which made Justin nervous. He admitted, "I get much more nervous when my teammates fight rather than when I fight, so I'm really glad it's over." The reporter then commented on how nervous Justin looked when they put him on screen, and Justin joked, "Yeah, I think I've got no nails left." Switching the topic to food, the reporter asked if Justin tried any good food in Paris. Justin mentioned his favorite place called Asco Tapenaki and how he had been there twice that week. He discovered the restaurant last year and described it as a phenomenal meal. Alex Pereira posted a clip where he's grappling with his son at home. His son believes that Michael Chandler will win against Conor McGregor. He highlights the big difference between the two fighters, describing Chandler as possibly the most disciplined in the sport, and McGregor as definitely the least disciplined. Sonnen criticizes the common idea that McGregor has a chance to win just because he's a good puncher, suggesting that this belief is lazy and not well-founded. He shared these thoughts with Donna Corby from Bloody Elbows at the Bellator Paris event. Here's what he actually said. Last one, Conor versus Chandler. Who wins? Michael Chandler wins every time. You have the most disciplined guy in the sport, arguably. They have the most undisciplined guy in the sport, for sure. And it's one of those situations where you have this conversation, everybody's going to be lazy, like he was at the moment, and say Conor's got a puncher's chance, and if Chandler stands up with him and so forth. Do share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Until next time.